This is the course of generative design, and just 2 words about which is the topic of this course and how we will organize the teaching activity. Design have different levels of approach. The first level that I think you know very well because you have your experience in design involves some aspect like aesthetics, aesthetic functions, symbolic functions, and practical functions. And you are accustomed to afford this wide range of aspects with an approach that is normally a little bit too much for me. Analytical, that is, you evaluate all the requests, you evaluate all the things, you use some aspect and that can help you to have an aesthetical result that is appreciable, like the golden section, other things like that. Or you follow some character that is inside the trend, or you are looking for forms or news and so on. Or you think that is important, it is important, innovation in the practical functions and so on. And you are accustomed to afford this complex system and to arrive to some results. But we, in this course, and I think it's important for you that are in the last part of your experience, we afford what I can call the second level of design. That is a little bit more complex, not so much complex, but need to change a little bit of mind and to arrive to something that going deep in some aspects that are really important if you like to be a designer and not only executor of idea of others and so on. And this level is characterized by, first, you need an idea. You need a vision, a subjective vision of the world. And this is not so simple. And sometimes you have done a lot of design experience without a real aim. Only following something that is aesthetical good or is fit the needs, the request, and so on, but without an idea, a real idea or a vision, a design of vision. And in this course, we will afford first this question. And we try to define also a methodology for a logical approach to identify and to develop your identity as designer, your vision. So we think that we can identify something like a second point, and this. We stop to copy forms and we start to interpret the forms that you like has transforming rules. What is transforming rules? Is how do you think to transform the past into the future following your vision? It's not so simple, but we will do that. And the moving from forms or forming, work with forms, work with shapes, and so on, to arrive to work with transforming rules is very important, because the transforming rules need your interpretation of your references. So you cannot see, oh, I like that, this form, and I use this form in my design, in my project. This is a low level. But I like this form. This is a very important reference for me. I interpret this form as transforming rules, and I use these transforming rules inside my design process. You don't copy. You interpret as transforming rules, and you use these transforming rules to increase the complexity and the quality of your projects. By the way, a transforming rules is something that you know very well, I think, I hope. In mathematics, we can say A equal A more 1. A is transforming, increasing its quantity. This A equal A more 1 is named algorithm. And we can use algorithms, but it's not necessary to use algorithms. We can use, in any case, some rules that we define for transforming our project in progress. It's complicated. The more important question for afford this second level of design is that you need to put yourself, your identity in the game. You cannot do that without putting your idea. If you don't want to involve yourself as designer in the design, as a person that have a vision into the design process, you cannot go over the first level. So, this is the real difficult, the real question that you have now, and without this step, you will have a lot of difficulty to develop our teaching activity. If you understand that you have to interpret, and interpreting is you put your identity as designer into the game, you will have an easy way to run. This is the first question. So, no more only analytical approach to design, but interpretative approach. This is necessary. One moment, before going ahead, any question about that? Perfect. But a lot of questions will arrive, I think. And A third question of this level is very important, and is, but can I arrive to design different things that will be recognizable as belonging to my idea? For example, we recognize a chair of Macintosh, but the other chairs are very good. Okay, I don't know who is the designer, but very good object, interesting object, and so on. But you recognize the designer. When you recognize the designer in architecture, you recognize Gaudí, you recognize Borromini. Many others are good architects, but you don't recognize them, their work. In art, the same. You recognize, you can see, oh, wonderful landscape, wonderful picture. But you recognize Van Gogh, but maybe you don't recognize a lot of other artists. You recognize, I don't know if you recognize a musician, but there are a lot of musicians that make a very good pieces, and but are not recognizable. Arriving to something, to a production of different projects that are recognizable as belonging to your vision as designer. In the fashion is the same. It's not enough to put the name of the stylist for recognize something. You recognize someone, you don't recognize others. So, our aim is, in this course, to construct your recognizability as a designer. Your identity as designer. Some years ago, we said, you are a style. You are a style, or you are only a good designer? Because if you have not, you can be the same, a good designer, but you have not this element, this aspect, this character that can push you in an upper level. You can try. And we are here for helping you to construct this possibility. This is the aim of the course and the topic of the course.